The peak experience and bliss state of life. Siafeng. September 30th, 2011. Translated by Treasure. The prestigious American psychologist, Abraham Harold Maslow has presented his theory of the hierarchical needs of life, in which he postulates that self-realization is the highest need of one's life, that the most perfect symbol of obtaining the highest need is peak experiences, and that his definition of it is a strong identity experience. I will summarize the following 18 characteristics of its specific intention here. 1. Everything blends into one harmonious and integrated whole. 2. Becoming an integral part of nature by losing oneself and melting into it. 3. Being in the best state as when a river flows vigorously. 4. Being good at what one does and handling things with great facility. 5. Being full of confidence as if all can be conquered. 6. Being free from suffering and optimistic about everything. 7. Being as unsophisticated and pure as a newborn baby. 8. Being flexible and tactical and improvise at will. 9. Being unique by blooming one's own nature fully. 10. Being absorbed in the present. 11. Being unworldly and regarding spiritual pursuit as supreme. 12. Being in a state of perfection with abundant essence, chi, and spirit. 13. Being poetic and full of mysterious ecstasy. 14. Release one's energy completely and being clear, bright, and fresh, and as if all inner. 15. Feeling fresh, clear, and being free from hostility and hate within. 16. Being free from worldly affairs and at absolute peace. 17. Immersing oneself within the ecstasy of delight and feeling everything's amazement. 18. Being overjoyed and grateful for God's. How many people can enjoy the peak experience that is described above? I suppose very few. What does that wonderful state that obsesses you and makes you lose yourself and meld with the outside world feel like? Consider the following descriptions. I feel like I am in heaven. I have a vague sense of vertigo, that exciting warmth, fullness, wetness, and power. I feel extremely excited and out of breath. At the same time, my head becomes as light as a feather, as if I were dreaming with a vague, distant voice, in a stagnant moment. Joy, pleasure, excitement, and thrill all make me madly joyous. I feel so terrific, seems in my body's best state. I feel as if I were awakening into a new life which had just begun at that moment. It felt wonderful, almost unbearable ecstasy for human being. Charming. Blood rushing. Desperate. Gone with the spirit. Absolute excitement. Wonderful. Intoxicating. Powerful. Beauty beyond words. In some aspects, my libido awakens me and gives me a chance to transcend myself, awakening from the dense fog of daily life and being. I feel as if being away from my flesh, from my spirit, with no care for everything that matters to my daily self. My life stays here like the eternal, but all in one instant, tasting the sweetness and beauty of life, blending into each other mightily. An amazing feeling, my own self-existence in another dimension, floating and melting from the supporting point of my life. A sudden gush of roaring fire, strong, devouring, wonderful. A pleasant, refreshing, irresistible sensation, growing until it becomes a rapid, high-altitude, screaming rocket with blast-like pleasure appearing in my sexual organs and then radiating throughout my entire body while everything else has gone. My inside feels full of vitality, its strength, wetness, heat, and intensity feel wonderful. For almost the complete time, all sorts of burning, wonderful sensations radiate from within my thighs as if everything around me has ceased to exist and I am completely immersed in this wonderful feeling. Until now, I haven't found a more wonderful feeling in my entire life. The sensation is an utter immersion without willpower and disconnected from my mind. It conquers me completely and occupies my body. The best word to describe this physiological sensation in terms of its destructive overall effect is temerarious. The only physical feeling that I can equate it to would be some forms of stiffness and tension, and also the indistinguishable, internal explosion of the parts of my sex organs. My body tightens gradually, my feeling reaches a steep peak of bliss, and then I reach an extremely joyous high plateau and let sharp screams out and slip across this feeling of bliss peak, then my body convulses violently 5 or 6 times, sharply and intensely at first, then more bluntly, slowly, and gently. The descriptions above describe the peak experiences of reaching sexual climaxes. In his investigative reports spanning 5 continents, Maslow stated that there are 2 methods for mankind to acquire peak experiences. One is sex, the other is music. Sex is the most common way to acquire those peak experiences. The supreme realm for Buddhist study is entering the Elysium world, and doing so means immersing into those peak experiences eternally. In order to enter the Elysium world, one must achieve an enlightened heart that is perceptive of nature, for Buddha is nature and nature is Buddha. Actually, mankind's sexual love experiences are comparatively low-level and those peak experiences that are attained through them are short-lived. To attain eternal peak experiences, one must achieve self-harmony, that is to say, a life must possess both yin and yang and be completely free from the external sexual supplement but remain in the state of oneness with yin and yang, just as the yin-yang fish shows in Taoism. Only that means entering into the Elysium world where one can experience the peak experiences of life. Then, how does one achieve self-harmony? This is an enormous, complex, and systematic project of self-refinement and self-improvement. What I do each day is to guide Chanyuan celestials to develop towards self-harmony. To recap briefly, in order to achieve self-harmony, you need to meet these 4 requirements. 1. You must de-weed your soul garden completely. 2. You must pay back all your debts from all of your past lives. 3. You must accumulate enough merits and virtues in heaven. 4. Your consciousness must ascend to the perfect state like a celestial being or Buddha. The building and living experiences of the new oasis for life are all for fulfilling the above tasks. I designed the new oasis for life carefully, including its locations and all the details of its planning and building. At present, all Chanyuan celestials who have taken part in building and experiencing the life in it can have joy, happiness, freedom, and blessings here. They will feel the peak experiences continuously, and finally attain self-harmony in order to enter into the celestial island continent and enjoy eternal bliss. In fact, Buddha and Bodhisattva have already revealed the way to attain self-harmony and enjoy the peak experience of life and bliss long ago as described in Heart Sutra. When Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, Lord who looks down with compassion, attained enlightenment through his profound wisdom, he realized that all forms, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and cognitions are only illusions. With this realization, he moved beyond all suffering and difficulty. Sariputra. Therefore, the tangible comes from the invisible which contains it. There are no essential differences between the two and the same applies for feelings, thoughts, behavior, and cognition. No matter which of the above, none of their natures have birth or death, being or non-being, defilement or purity, or increasing or decreasing. Therefore, the nature of the world and of life is invisible, neither any individuals, nor any of their sensations listed above really exist. Thinking, and our physical perceptions of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling mislead us into our illusions and apply questions to our cognitions about good versus evil, ego versus non-ego, wise versus unwise, life versus death, and attainment versus non-attainment of supreme dharma. All of these perceptions are only illusions. The Bodhisattva relied on the wisdom that could bring him to the shores of freedom. He was entirely free from worry and thus overcame all fears and all that upset him, leaving behind this distorted, illusory world, and ultimately attaining nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future have and will continue to rely on that same wisdom to bring them to the shores of freedom, help to attain supreme authentic wisdom. Therefore know that wisdom that can bring us to the shore of freedom is a great spiritual mantra, a great bright mantra, a supreme mantra, an unequaled mantra. It can remove all suffering, it is genuine and not false. It reads, go, go, go. Go to the other shore with transcending wisdom, go to the realm of freedom, go to attain enlightenment soon, just go. Finally, I want to repeat the last words of Heart Sutra. Go, go, go. Go to the other shore with transcending wisdom, go to the realm of freedom, go to attain enlightenment soon, just go.